It's always sad when a game shuts down. A game that has been hyped and built up a fan base over the last few years since its announcement. And it's even sadder when it's a game that has such potential. And that's what we're talking about today. We were looking forward to the new Lord of the Rings MMO that was set to coincide alongside Amazon's new TV series, but it's gone. Yes, you heard me right. Once again, Amazon Games have cancelled a project. The Lord of the Rings MMO was set to be one of the biggest games coming out in the next few years, and its premise is sort of in the title, a full open world MMO set within the Tolkien universe. Something a little bit like Lord of the Rings Online, but a little bit less outdated. Let's just put it that way. Lord of the Rings Online has been very successful and has been loved by a lot of players. However, in terms of keeping it up to date with newer and fresher mechanics and also making it look like it's a game in 2021, they haven't done a fantastic job with that. So it was about time that it needed an upgrade, and that's what the new Lord of the Rings MMO was supposed to be. As I mentioned, the Lord of the Rings Amazon TV show is coming out within the next few years, and it was supposed to release somewhat alongside it. Now, it didn't have any affiliation with it in terms of story. However, they were both set to release at around 2022 time, at least that was the initial reports, so they'd work well with each other in a synergy of Lord of the Rings content, promoting each other between. However, the Lord of the Rings MMO had very little information actually released. Upon its announcement in 2018, there were some cool bits of art and concept that has come out, which really got the hype, and the name behind it says it all. People were really waiting for this, but there was one big problem. It was being developed with Amazon Games. Now, they weren't the sole developer behind it, they were working with another company as well, Athlon Games, which is a subsidiary of Liu. They were working on it with Amazon Games for the last few years. However, recently, Liu was acquired by Tencent. If anyone doesn't know, Tencent is one of the biggest companies when it comes to gaming in the industry today. Tencent own Riot Games, and they also have a substantial stake in Epic Games as well. So you can tell that these guys are the powerhouse. They're the ones that work behind the scenes that don't necessarily have the name on the top or the game titles. However, they're the money and the workhorse behind it. But as they acquired Liu and with it Athlon Games, who were working on this Lord of the Rings MMO, issues started to prop up. You see, when you have two mega corporations like Tencent and Amazon going head to head, it's very rare that you're going to find a common ground. The reports came in that they really wanted to make it work. An Amazon spokesperson said, "We love the Lord of the Rings IP and we're disappointed that we won't be able to bring the games to customers, but they've been unable to secure terms to proceed with the title at this time." Now, it doesn't seem so final. They have said that this is just what's happening right now, but I feel like it will end up going that way. With a company like Tencent going head to head with Amazon, both of them want the fair share of the product. And unfortunately, with the collaboration of these studios, it just doesn't seem like it's a possibility that's going to go forward. Despite all this though, I think the main problem lies with the name, Amazon Game Studios. Amazon Game Studios, if you haven't heard of them, was set up in 2014 by, well, you can guess who owns them. They were making some fantastic games, they had some great ideas, but weirdly enough, 7 years after the studio was set up, they are yet to release any actual games. They released Crucible, which was an Overwatch-style esports shoot-em-up, that got cancelled. Also Breakaway, which was a similar type game, that got cancelled. The only game that they still have that could be coming in the future is New World. I've been following New World somewhat, and it looks pretty decent. Once again, it's an MMO set in a medieval fantasy-style world, where you go around upgrading your character, meeting with people, and going on quests. It looks pretty well done, and there's been a lot of gameplay of some of the early versions of the game so far, and it's had some decent responses. However, that game's not even out yet. It's scheduled for release in August of 2021, and I guess at that point we'll find out whether Amazon Games actually taking this gaming industry seriously. The problem is they put so much money behind it that they haven't put the faith that goes with the money. They've had some good ideas, but they haven't been unique enough in order to separate themselves. Crucible was fine, but it wasn't unique enough from the esports games that we already have. It took some things from games like Dota, League of Legends, but also Overwatch and even CSGO, mushing them all together to make this game that didn't really fit anywhere. And I think that's the problem that Amazon Games have had. I've made a full video talking about them, so I'm not going to go too in depth about the company themselves. Make sure you click the card if you want to go and watch that. But this is where it fell through for the Lord of the Rings IP. Amazon Games were trying to make this incredibly ambitious title. And yes, they have the money behind it. Amazon have been chucking millions and millions into their game studio. However, it just hasn't worked out. for one way or another, the publisher decided that it just didn't work out in the end. The developers didn't really quite get the time to do the vision that they wanted to, or they've tried to release it and the audience response has been, well, horrendous. Now it's just another game on their stack of failed titles. Lord of the Rings MMO was going to be amazing. It was going to coincide with one of the most hyped TV shows of all time, and don't forget, the most expensive TV show of all time. It's already been stated that the first season of this Lord of the Rings TV show is costing Amazon over $400 million, which is more than any TV show and any movie to ever grace our screens, which blows my mind. And if they'd released an MMO at the same time, this could have been one of the biggest franchise rebirths that we've ever seen. Lord of the Rings is beloved by so many people. Even its worst titles in the Hobbit movies are still better than most franchises' best, and this would only expand upon it. And it's a shame that we had to see it go this way. Amazon, of course, shared their disappointment that they're not going to be able to complete this project, but I think most of it is with the developers. These developers, whilst the game has been cancelled and we've not seen that much on it, they will have been working on it. The amount of detailed artwork, the amount of planning that goes into games like this, especially an MMO, which takes years and years and tens of millions of dollars to even try and complete. And now it was all for nothing. There's a possibility that it could come back in the future, and they haven't said that it's a definite no, but I don't think that's very likely. Is it possible for Tencent and Amazon to come to an agreement in the future? Yes, but with this point in time, with such large quantities of money being thrown around by specifically Amazon, I don't think they're willing to take any risks, and with that means we probably won't get this game within the near future, if at all. They've said the team will be shifted to other projects, which I'm assuming means New World and whatever they've got planned in the future, but I feel like Amazon games really need to do something now. They need to release New World and announce what they've got coming in the future, but really show what they've got to offer, because Lord of the Rings MMO is the 5th game to be cancelled during its development in Amazon, and with the amount of money that they have pumped into this studio, they're going to be losing a lot. Should Amazon just pull out of its gaming studio? I don't think so. It has the potential. They have the money and resources and the talent behind them in order to make something good, but they just can't seem to settle on anything. They don't want to take any risks, and in order to release a game, you need to risk trying something new to get any sort of success in this industry. Of course, we still have some Lord of the Rings coming in the future. We've got the TV show, and we still have that Gollum game that has been teased around. Some people have asked me to talk about that. If you want me to make a video on the Gollum game that is coming out in the next few years, make sure you leave a comment down below. I'm not 100% sure on it. It looks a little bit weird, but hey, it could be an interesting thing to talk about. So please leave your comments down below on your thoughts of this. Do you think Amazon Game Studios can redeem themselves after the 5th game that they've cancelled? I think it's more disappointing that this is Lord of the Rings, because Crucible, Breakaway, things like that, I don't think anyone really cared in the first place, but I know there are so many people behind. There's so many people that wanted this to be good and they wanted it to come out. The Lord of the Rings IP is so valuable, but it has to be done so well. Any slip up, it could turn into something like, well, the Star Wars sequels. But hey, leave your comments down below. I'll be sure to check on them. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave a dislike if you didn't. But until then, I will see you in the next one.